Hello YouTube, this is Sam Gerrans from Qur'an.com. Today is Sunday the 10th of November 2019. If you see a sort of different backdrop, it's because I'm not at home, I'm in a different city, and this is going to be quite a short video. I'm here in a place called Chelyabinsk, which is not somewhere I recommend coming to visit, to be perfectly honest with you. It's a very large, very industrial Russian city, the other side of the Urals. So I drove here to get some work done on my back and neck and arms and everything, because I've just been doing so much work. But not only that, just life, it catches up with you when you get to a certain age, especially if you were doing what I was doing, which was eating the food and all of that. Thanks to my wife, as people who follow my channel will know, I've had some major work done to my health. All of my sort of insides been sorted out. Now I'm getting my bone structure, skeletal structure, back, neck, arms, all of that done as well. It's going to take another couple of weeks at least. It's I'm not going to go into long details about it. It's painful. It takes a lot of time. Not as painful as the last bout of work, but I can certainly feel progress. My back, my lower back, my sort of lumbar region, I think it's called. There's this space where the pain used to be, and in a nutshell, this particular treatment is, what is it? It's a combination of acupuncture and electrocution. It's not excruciatingly painful, it's just quite painful, and for a long time. Sort of in these sessions for, I think we get up at 3, we're there about 4:15, starts from 4:30 in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I think it's 6 days a week, so that's how long going through these things. A lot of people just do like one session, which is an hour and a half a week or something. Well, we've just come here just to do this, so I'm doing like 6 in a day. So I'm doing 1.5 months worth each day, and it takes it out of you on one level, but on another level, I'm starting to feel that sort of, I'm starting to feel great actually. So I'm going to stick with it. It may take another couple of weeks, so that's has to be. I've got so much ahead of me that I actually need to take care of my health. Anyway, I didn't want to talk all about that, but I thought I'd just sort of include that so people know what's going on. I had a comment on another video from someone in Turkey, and if I can find it, I'll post it down below, or just cut and paste it down below. And what he was saying was, and I thought this was very interesting, because a lot of people don't get why they say, this is a Quran alone channel, why do you talk about the New World Order, why do you talk about this and why do you talk about that? Well, what I've discovered is if I didn't talk about the one thing that a lot of people, everyone's got one thing. Oh, if only you didn't talk about this. Oh, if only you didn't say this one thing. I've worked out that if I excluded all of the one things that I've been contacted about that people don't like, I love your work, but this one thing, oh, if only you didn't mention this or this or this, I'd actually have nothing left. So I stick to what I'm doing. So it was a very interesting comment, because what he was saying was, and I wasn't aware of this, is that the things that I mentioned, like the hashtag #MeToo, the destruction of men, the destruction of the family, the weaponisation of women against men, that's all happening in Turkey. And from what I've heard from other people, it's happening in other, what you would think of as being conservative Muslim countries as well. And from my point of view, that all goes to show that there's one agenda. We are ruled by a single government. It's got this LGBT at the moment, Q, P, N agenda, which it's pushing through whether you like it, you don't like it. And I've got other videos on that subject, so I'm not really going to go over that too much here. But what I did want to say was, if you're living, I know about the West, I know about the US, I know about Canada, Australia, all of the what was called the Commonwealth countries, and obviously Europe. You go to Germany now. I got trapped in Germany for 3 days en route to America, and what I saw in Frankfurt, frankly, if I was German, I'd just give up. The whole of the Western culture is being systematically destroyed by what I consider to be cultural Marxism. But what I want to say is, if you live in a country that is not any of the ones that I've mentioned, if you're in Africa, or if you're in Asia, or in the Arab world, or the so-called Muslim world, and this sort of stuff is happening here, please sort of give a shout out in the comments, because that would be very interesting, just from a personal point of view. On a related subject, my work is directed at men, because the way I see it, the Qur'an is directed to men. Almost none of the Qur'an is directed specifically at women. And it's changing hands here. And that's not it's not an indictment of women or anything, but the Qur'an treats men as the leaders of societies. It treats men as it assumes that men are in control, which is the natural, normal condition. It's obviously not a control of tyranny, but it certainly is the normal condition, which is when men run things and women don't. Or they do run things. They run their own things. They have real power, real feminine power, in that they're not trying to usurp men's positions. They're just doing their actual things that they're really fantastic and great at, because they are different to men. What we're seeing obviously in the West is this idea that equality of, human equality, which I do believe in, it means that you're actually identical, which I don't believe in. Of course, we're not identical, and what you end up with is this mental illness, which we've got now, which puts me in mind of one of my favourite quotes, which is attributed to Voltaire, who said, "Those who can make you believe in absurdities can make you commit atrocities." And what's going on with this, the whole transsexual agenda, and this isn't the end, this is just part of a much bigger plan. This is absurd. It's insanity, and it's obvious to anybody with a functioning brain, which normally when you said something like that you meant a lot of people, but now the pool of people who do have a functioning brain is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And if you are sane, and you're not just sort of taking the downloads, or if you've stepped out of society for any reason and come back at a later date and found that everybody that you used to know is now spouting such errant nonsense that it makes you feel like you're living in the land of the living dead. Well, this is just the future now. Insanity is the new normal, so just get used to it. So my point is, men change it. The Quran is directed to men. There is not a single prophet or messenger in the Quran who is a woman. Don't blame me, I didn't write this book, I'm just telling you what you already know. If you know the Quran, you know that that's true. This is in no way to denigrate women. I'm married to one, and if you know my channel, you know that every chance I get, I'm very happy to give her full credit for her absolutely, incomparable contribution to what it is I do. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't be able to do it. There's no question about that. But I'm not a feminist. I'm a femininist. I believe that a woman's power lies in being feminine. And what we have now, if you haven't looked at somebody called, there are people out there, but just for example, a guy called Ed Dutton, he uses the expression spiteful mutants, which I don't believe is his, but I think that perfectly illustrates what they're doing, because what they're doing is they're weaponizing women, and they've got women in the West believing that they are somehow independent, that they're free of the patriarchy. No, they're not. It's all they've done is they've collectivized the patriarchy. It's called taxation and the state. So they're sucking in all the money from all the men into this big pool, and then the government is the arbiter of who gets some of this money. So these women now, who think that they are independent and they don't need any help, all that's happened is they've transferred their loyalties, their natural, normal, God-given, reasonable, inherent loyalties to their husband to the state. That's all that happened. They're now wives of the state. So if you get married now, and you feel like there's somebody else living in your flat, there is. It's called the state. And at any moment, your wife has a hormonal fluctuation, or she reads something that she's impressed by, or she's downloaded the latest, Hollywood mind control unit block. You're going to have to deal with that, you see, and you know that's true. So personally, I married outside of the UK. My wife is Russian. Well, she's half Russian, half Ukrainian, and she was brought up actually not in Russia. She was brought up in Kazakhstan, which is a very Eastern mentality. So I get absolutely the best of all worlds. But it's nothing to do with patriarchy. It's to do with responsibility, and real men take responsibility for their women as well as for themselves, for their children, and that none of that's changed. What's changed, because women will seek that. They'll seek the alpha male. They'll seek the provider. They'll seek the one that will make them feel safe. That's what they want. And what's happened is that's all transferred to the state now. And I'm going to make a few videos. I'm planning to anyway on the rise of the state as the new God, which is exactly what this is, especially as I push through with the last parts of the God protocol, God willing, once my bones are back in place. Anyway, I just wanted to say all that. I'm going to sign off now. If you live in outside of the Commonwealth countries, outside of the UK, Canada, even America as well, and Australia, and so on, and outside Europe, and they're pushing this same usurpation of men by means of the state and by means of this sort of hashtag culture of accessing women's feelings and just promotion of women to destroy your country and to destroy your culture. That's what I'm really interested in. Please say so down below. I mean, I don't need a lot, just a summary of what's going on as you experience it. That would just be really interesting. Anyway, I'll just show you around. Looks nice here, doesn't it? This is a small enclave of niceness in a sea of industrialisation. This isn't typical of where I am at the moment. But yeah, that's all for now. I hope everyone's well, and I look forward to reading your comments in down below. Bye for now. If you're listening on YouTube, you can download my full translation of the Qur'an free using the button in the top right hand corner, or buy the hard copy there at 10% less than on Amazon. I also encourage you to sign up for the Qur'anite Plus newsletter on the site to get occasional micro updates. You can download the audio from my YouTube videos to your mobile device using the links in the drop down below. I recommend meetquranites.com to connect with other Qur'an alone believers. Like if you like, comment if you have something constructive to say, and subscribe to get more each week. And use the link in the drop down below to donate if you would like to help me keep doing this. And remember, this life is short, eternity is long. If you want good trees, plant good seeds.